I'm Sam.
And this is Gabe.
And this is Coaster Wars.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Coaster Wars podcast, where today we're talking about animals.
Didn't even realize.
It's not a roller coaster podcast anymore. This is animals.
This is Animal Planet.
Yes. Two animals that you never talk about
in the
same conversation. Yes.
At all.
We're comparing them today.
Yes, so that's a little bit misleading. This is our Any Woodies episode, and coincidentally, the two coasters that we have picked are, in fact, named after animals, which is...
I was almost going to change the title on you and see if you noticed, and then I just kind of forgot to do it.
I wouldn't have. Although I did look at the schedule earlier, so I might have noticed, because I honestly forgot what episode we were supposed to be recording today.
But, yeah, I thought that would have been kind of funny if I just switched the name of the episode. I noticed that the one day, when I was going through our schedule. Also, we're going to have to probably cut some episodes out because of our inconsistency, unfortunately.
Welcome to our podcast, everybody, where we are consistently inconsistent. We have yet to put it on a t-shirt, but I'm telling you, we're making t-shirts.
I can tell you right now, the next 3 are not getting cut. Probably the next 4, because those are all very good episodes. Even this 14 is good. 15 is where it starts to get kind of so maybe some of those, the tail end there, we'll have to. But even like this one, coasters that only have one moment, that would be a fun episode.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
We'll figure it out.
We'll see. Yeah. Maybe we'll have to do like a two-for episode or something.
Yeah.
Like an hour-long double battle special or something crazy.
That would be kind of cool.
That would be kind of cool.
So we'll get it figured out.
4
Anyways,
roller coasters. Well, bring your best 2 fighters and
dang.
We'll see. That'd be kind of crazy.
Yeah, we'll get it figured out. But back to our episode today. Why don't you introduce today's fighters, Gabe?
Okay. In the red corner, standing at a max height of 87 feet and reaching a top speed of 51 miles per hour. Hailing from the Kings Dominion Gym at the hills of Virginia, it's Grizzly. In the blue corner, standing at a max height of 96 feet and reaching a top speed of 55 miles per hour. Hailing from the GCI Gym and the deserts of San Antonio, it's Texas Stingray. Let the fight begin.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun episode because both of these are really decent woodies, and I don't think we really mentioned either of them very much.
No, they're 2 coasters that are kind of either at an amusement park that we haven't talked a lot about, or in the case of Texas Stingray, we've talked about, 3 other roller coasters there besides that one?
Yeah.
Just 2 very interesting coasters, 2 very different coasters. One is about as traditional of a wooden roller coaster as you can get, and one is about as modern of a roller coaster as you can get.
Yeah, this is quite the little matchup we have here. Who do you want to talk about first, Gabe?
Why don't we talk about the elder, the Grizzly?
Oh, right. So I'm bringing Grizzly. This was kind of a surprise for me and Gabe. We weren't, as far as I know, we didn't really have any expectations for this guy. And we got off it and we're like, that was actually decent. So this is a 1982 in-house Woody build. And this guy, since it was built in the 80s, was backed when the Taft Entertainment Company owned King's Dominion. So it was designed by Taft, but built by PTC. It's 87 feet tall, top speed of 51 miles per hour. That drop is 55 degrees. And that's according to a Google AI overview from Retrack Info, because it was actually changed after the retrack. It went from 45 to 55 degrees. And to get into the history of this guy, because I actually went on RCDB for like basic stats and stuff, and then I kind of like dived into a little bit of a hole and like started going deeper. So RCDB said that this was not a clone, but it was based off of the Coney Island Wildcat design, which was a coaster that existed from 1926.
Not the Coney Island Cyclone.
No, Wildcat.
That is a different coaster, the Coney Island Wildcat.
Yes. So that coaster existed from 1926 to 1964. So after doing some research, the designer of Grizzly was Curtis D. Summers. And he also designed Wildebeest at Canada's Wonderland. And I actually watched a POV. And basically, Coney Island Wildcat had like a figure 8 pattern. And it's actually kind of crazy how similar the two, Wildebeest and Grizzly, kind of are in their layouts. And especially like the most striking thing is there's a big I think it's a right or left hand like 180 degree turn that brings you out of the station and then into the lift hill, and they're basically almost identical on these two roller coasters. So I thought that was
now
really
what's
cool.
Crazy is that I thought Wildebeest was absolutely terrible when we went.
Yeah, we were not impressed with any of the Woodies at Canada's Wonderland.
Well, one was a family Woody, the Ghoster coaster,
I suppose,
and then Wildebeest. Yeah. Oh, it's because the one we didn't get to ride, the Canadian Mindbuster, we didn't get to ride.
Okay.
And I think Wildebeest we did, and that was the one that felt like you could feel the whole train like move up and down with the train.
Yeah, it was so kind of.
Maybe it was a retracking issue with that coaster.
It very well could be, because that's the other thing with Grizzly. So according to the retrack, it went through a slight refurbishment in 2016 where its first two hills were retracked. And then in 2023, Gravity Group replaced over 1,000 feet of track, giving it a smoother ride and increasing that drop angle, like I said. And also like a very like funny thing, they called it #restore the roar, which I thought was cool. There are a couple spots that like are still rough and we could tell that, but they weren't in high stress areas, so it didn't really like affect the roller coaster ride. And then on top of that, we always talk about with retracking, when it gets smoother, it also increases the speed of a roller coaster.
Oh, absolutely. It definitely, I mean, this coaster was like worlds different. And maybe, now hear me out here. Now I know Grizzly kind of had a bad reputation before the retrack and the refurbishment. Now, if it was anything like Wildebeest, I can understand why, because that was just not a comfortable ride. I mean, when the whole entire train is flexing and your restraint is moving up and down, like when it's not supposed to, that's not a comfortable ride experience.
No.
So I could totally see in this case, if that's what Grizzly was before the retrack, all right, now I get it. Yeah, it wasn't a great roller coaster beforehand. But after the retract, when Gravity Group comes in and completely redoes the roller coaster, I can see how that would improve it, especially if they were doing reprofiling like you said they were. Because I'm sure they did more than just the first drop. I would assume it comes to reprofiling.
Yeah, 100%. So I also want to point out that I want to make it clear that they're not clones of each other. They're just very similar layouts with these roller coasters too. So why don't I get into a quick layout here? So you start with that 180 degree and it's a left turn out of the station. That brings you straight into that, like a little slight right that brings you into the lift hill. This one too was kind of off in the back of the park, and it was surrounded by trees too, which was very cool.
Yes.
So this is
very, very good tunneling effect on this roller coaster.
Yes. So, and it was also kind of one of those things where you could see the initial turn and you could see the lift hill, but you can't really see much of this roller coaster, which is really cool. So you drop off that lift hill into a slightly curved drop to the left before popping up into an elevated turnaround. And this turnaround is very, very tall. And so you kind of, I don't want to say you creep through it, but you go through it pretty slow. And then dropping off that turnaround, you get some great floater, which leads you into a standard airtime hill for another bit of floater. And that leads into a slight right into a tunnel where you hit another airtime moment before coming back up into another 180 degree turn that leads back up and down as you're turning. Like it goes up and down. And as you exit that turn, you have 2 back-to-back airtime hills that also slightly turn, making them really good lateral moments, which sends you into another turnaround, which is much closer to the ground and on the inside of like that first big turnaround. So basically you're moving a lot faster and it's slightly sharper, which again makes it good laterals. And also want to point out here, this is a 1982 Woody. So banking, never heard of her. And then dropping off that turnaround offers some good airtime before a traditional airtime hill that gives you a little bit of ejector instead of floater, and then a slightly turned speed hill that then pops you up into those final breaks. So I went through that pretty fast. A lot of, we talk about with these 80s Woodies, they're relatively simple layouts, but we're
only talking 3,000 feet of track too. It's not a long roller coaster.
No. So, but they usually do what they do very well still. And then because they were built in the 80s, a lot of the polish that you have on more modern wooden roller coasters, you just don't have on these guys. So like I said, like any of those turnarounds, no banking whatsoever. A lot of those like little turn airtime hill moments kind of are a little bit snappy, give you some good laterals. The airtime is good on this guy. It's got, even like for all the turnarounds and stuff that it has good pacing. And it was just a lot of fun. And another thing I'd like to point out is I bet this guy also has great night rides if it were dark out.
Oh, absolutely. It's just a fun roller coaster. It kind of reminds me of like a mini version of Viper almost. Like, it's a very similar style with the a bunch of turns, some really good laterals, a couple of really good doses of airtime, just not quite as long of a layout, not as many elements. The other thing too is that the initial turnaround, the first one, is very long and drawn out. It's not as like, it's just basically a turnaround element. It doesn't feature any kind of forces, which is slightly disappointing. But like you said, it's an 80s Woody. I mean, that's how they turned the coasters around back then. They didn't have creative elements back then. That being said, the second turnaround, the one that kind of like is very elongated, and it kind of, you increase elevation, then you decrease elevation, that gets some really good doses of laterals. It's a very, very good sustained lateral moment. I just think this roller coaster was very surprising. I mean, coming into it, you hear 1982 Woody, Taft Entertainment, in-house, whatever, made by PTC. You're like, oh, this is going to be a snooze fest.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. It was actually a very, very well done roller coaster. I thought the first drop was very good. It gave you a really good dose of floater airtime. And there are some good forceful pops of airtime in this. I wouldn't go as far as to say like ejector, but borderline. I mean, very borderline moments, especially the smaller airtime hills have some pretty good force to them. It was just a coaster that we got off and went, this is like not the worst coaster at King's Dominion, and I'm surprised by it. Like, we preferred this over the Racer at King's Dominion. I did.
Yep, definitely.
I thought the Racer 75, I think that's what it's called here.
Yep.
Racer 75. I thought that was a very disappointing, very, very forceless coaster. This was not. This was definitely better.
No, 100% agree with you. It was definitely 100% better. And I mean, that's like, you also have to think about like the perspective is we didn't really have any expectations for either of them. We're like, Racer, like obviously it meant to be a little bit more of a family coaster, but we were like, well, maybe it'll at least have one good moment, and it just didn't have anything. And this was definitely a decent wooden roller coaster, and I really like the fact that it was kind of like tucked back in a quiet part of the park. I don't remember, was the raft ride next to this, or what the heck was next to this? I don't even remember.
Technically, I think Twisted Timbers was next to it.
Oh, okay.
Like, Twisted Timbers is such a small, compact coaster.
Yeah,
I don't think you really notice it that much. The Grizzly really is all on its own. I don't think it was the raft. Did they have?
They might not have had one. I might be thinking of a different coaster.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. No, there's really nothing over there. Over by the entrance, the log flume was over there. But that was maybe by the entrance to Grizzly. It wasn't actually by the coaster itself.
Okay. That's probably what I'm remembering.
that's another thing that makes Grizzly a very unique coaster, because it was constructed in 1982, and the fact that they haven't built really anything else around it.
Yeah.
This has become a very isolated, very densely covered roller coaster in sections, and it does give it a really neat tunneling effect that makes the coaster run and feel faster than it actually is. That is for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So the only other thing I really have to mention about this guy, because I am the theming queen, is obviously the name is Grizzly, and so like there's no definitive story like some roller coasters have, but it's kind of was just designed to immerse you in the habitat of a grizzly bear, to kind of like take you back into woods and let you scream between the trees, which is exactly like it does. And because it does that, like I said, you can't really see the layout of this roller coaster. So if you haven't ridden it before, you really don't know what to expect. You can't really see this thing back here. And then, like I already mentioned, it would have amazing night rides. So I would really love to get back to this park and re-ride this guy, because it was a lot of fun.
Yes, for sure. I mean, there's another coaster there we have to re-ride or get done. But I mean,
I guess.
The big red one over there, the big red elephant in the room. But
exactly.
We need to get back to King's Dominion. I feel like we didn't give King's Dominion quite a fair shake. I will say this. Overall, our visit was disappointing to King's Dominion. I felt between the Racer 75, between Twisted Timbers, between not getting on I-305/Pentherian/ I'm not calling it that ever. Even like their Flight of Fear, what is it? A different name now? Did they read?
I would have to
even
look it
that
up.
was disappointing. I felt like their backlot stunt coaster was more disappointing than the one was not as good as the one at Kings Island. Dominator was really good. I will say that Dominator was really good. Raptera was kind of I don't know. I wasn't very impressed by it. So, like, other than Grizzly, this coaster, and Dominator, this park was kind of like just an park for us. It really was.
Yeah.
So
now that you say that,
kind of saved the day a little bit, to be honest. It was like one of the better ride experiences. I mean, obviously, Twisted Timbers is the best roller coaster we got to ride on, but it wasn't what we wanted it to be in an RMC.
Yeah.
It was not our favorite RMC. Yes, it was still the best ride in the park. Obviously, I'll never say that, but I mean, I think if we got on I-305, like some people will go back and forth. Oh, is Twisted Timbers better or is I-305? No, I-305 is better, and I haven't even been on it.
Yeah, like, exactly.
That's how we felt. So Grizzly really kind of like saved the day at King's Dominion. It was a very, very nice, pleasant surprise. And I think maybe that's why it impacted us a little bit more than other people's, because we were being kind of disappointed at the time when we got on it, and then it was like, oh wait, there is a good coaster here. Look at this.
I do actually specifically remember that, because we were getting in line and I was kind of excited because it's a Woody I haven't been on, and Gabe was like, I don't really expect much from this, and I was like, oh, okay, but we still rode it, and then we both got off and we're like, wait, that was actually decent.
Yeah, then we rode it a second time right away. That's how good it was. But
so I suppose here we gotta switch gears a little bit.
Yes, Texas Stingray. This is a 2020 GCI. Hot take here. I think it's my favorite GCI.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I really do. This was a very, very well. I wish it was a little longer. I will say that. But after getting on this and comparing it to coasters like Mystic Timbers and Thunderhead, this is a strong contender, very underrated roller coaster in my opinion. And I tell you why. Because it doesn't have a curved first drop. That's how much I care about my first drops.
Yeah. That's a very good point.
You need more traditional drops because this drop was so good. It was so profiled. Oh
yes.
Chef's kiss on that one. But this roller coaster overall, I mean, Thunderhead versus this, that would be a battle. That would be a very good battle. Even throwing like Mystic Timbers up against this, very, very good battle. I mean, GCI has just been doing some very, very good work in the modern wooden coaster era, but they really, I feel like, kind of pulled out all the stops for this roller coaster.
Yeah, so if anybody has listened to any of our episodes, you probably have gathered that Gabe knows more about the roller coastering world than I do. So in all honesty, I had no expectations, I had no idea basically what was at Six Flags, goodness gracious, SeaWorld San Antonio. And so it was funny because did we ride the steel eel first? Was that our first ride?
I believe so. Yeah, that's just kind of the way we walked the loop because there's 4 roller coasters there.
I think so.
Right.
So
there's the Great White, which is the B&M Batman clone. You got the Wave Runner Intamin. You have this coaster. Oh, there's 5 because there's this coaster. There's the steel eel, and then there's that Vekoma family coaster.
Yeah, I don't think it was open when we were there. I don't remember riding it. Oh, we did?
We only rode it once just for the credit, but maybe I rode it and you didn't? I rode it. Yeah, but I don't see what not? I
was going to say.
We rode it. I'll say we rode it.
If it was a Vekoma family one, you know what? No, I do remember because I think it was the longest line we had to wait in.
It was the longest line. Just because it was, I think it did 2 laps and it was a single train, blah, blah, blah.
Yep, I totally remember that now.
Low capacity roller coaster.
Yes. So anyways, moral of the story, we rode the steel eel first, and the steel eel was actually a lot of fun. I really liked the steel eel.
The steel eel was a blast. And we on that guy.
We'll have to actually do an episode where we talk about him. But so then I was like, I didn't really expect anything else from the rest of the coasters, and Gabe didn't really say anything about the Texas Stingray. And then we got off it, and I was like, "Oh, that was awesome!" And Gabe's like,
"That's because I was obsessed with the stupid launched log flume. That's really what it was."
Yeah,
this coaster kind of fell to the wayside a little bit. Once I realized that's where the launched log flume was, I was like freaking out. Like, Sam, you love log flumes. And
yes!
Launched.
Yes! Oh, again, we'll have to do an episode on that sometime because that thing was actually crazy.
Oh, but yeah. Good time.
And this one was kind of at the back of the park. I do think it's one of the last ones that we rode. And we were
the last one.
Okay, so it was like we rode everything else. I really didn't have any expectations. We were so focused on the launched log flume. So when we finally got it and rode it, and we're just like, holy crap, this thing is awesome. Oh, we rode it multiple times. It was so much fun.
Oh, and we really did. And so, really what it came down to is we just SeaWorld San Antonio is not a large park. It's basically one continuous loop around a pond, lake, whatever you want to call it. So the way the park is laid out, you can either hit this first or you can hit steel eel first. Yep. And for whatever reason, the steel eel just drawed us in, like just the whole aura of that roller coaster. Don't get me wrong, it was worth it. But just the whole aura of that roller coaster. It's like, let's go do that one first. So, and the way it's just kind of laid out, you got steel eel, then you have the launched log flume and the wave runner coaster right across from each other. And you have the great white shark, the B&M clone. And then you have a couple more things, a couple shows, and then that's where Texas Stingray is, kind of all the way back around towards the front of the park as you're leaving. So that's why I kind of gotten to the wayside. I think we also did a show somewhere in between there too. But we were there with a couple other people. So it was not as much of a roller coaster focused visit. So that's why. But I was like saying, we got to ride this thing, and then we ended up riding it like 7 times.
It was awesome.
We got our uncle on it. He hated it because he's not a enthusiast at all.
No.
I can't believe we were able to convince him to go on.
I know, right?
It's not a bad roller coaster. He gets off. I am not doing that again.
Yeah. Well, I think what probably got him is we told him it was the best one in the park, but our definition of best one in the park is not necessarily everyone's definition.
Yeah, that is definitely true. I will say this. It is a very smooth, well-groomed roller coaster. It is just it's a very rapid pace. I mean, it's a traditional GCI. Rapid paced, in your face, bam, 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 rapid fire kind of roller coaster. But it is not a rough roller coaster. It's not a violent roller coaster. It's still a very graceful roller coaster. It's just a very rapid fire, graceful roller coaster. It's a very
superb pacing.
It's a very unique feeling because Mystic Timbers is not graceful. It's not at all.
No.
It isn't. That is a violent roller coaster, Mystic Timbers. Even Thunderhead, probably 80% of that coaster is fairly violent. It's also considerably rougher.
Yeah.
I would actually use the word graceful to describe this roller coaster, I think. And that's why I think it sticks out in my head a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
It just is a little bit different style. It is still that, that GCI core of being a rapid fire coaster, but with a little bit more graceful, flowy B&M like sprinkled in there a little bit.
Yeah. You know I mean? Yeah, definitely.
I guess I gotta get no layout of this roller coaster, though.
Right
here, but all right. So this roller coaster starts with a 90-degree turn out of the station, and that sends you into the lift hill, and that brings you up. And at the top of the lift hill, you do about a 180-degree turnaround. This gives you a great panoramic view of the greater San Antonio area. You are then staring down the 100-foot drop, which is the best GCI drop I've ever experienced. And that's so good. Chef's kiss. It really makes this roller coaster, I think. Like, if you take the first drop out of it and you put a curved first drop in, it's a little bit worse of a roller coaster. I'm sorry. I hate GCI drops. I hate them. And it's not a GCI drop, even though it's GCI. So,
yeah.
Sorry, I had to get on my soapbox there. Anyway, so with that, you dive off the lift hill and you pop up into an airtime. But then at the top of the airtime hill, you kind of dive and twist and go into a banked diving right-hand turn. As you dive towards the ground, you then pop up into another, we'll call it a GCI turn. It's kind of like an overbank. Kind of not. It has like an airtime pop going into it, and then it has an airtime pop. It's another right banked turn, almost wave turn-esque because it is so banked, but not quite enough. It's like not quite banked enough to hit that wave turn description. But after that, you kind of dive down and continue that banked turn to the right, doing almost a full 360-degree turn. And then as you exit the turn, you kind of pop up into another airtime hill. But then once again at the top, you go into a 90-degree banked section of track, which sends you into a descending left bank curve. After that, it kind of levels out with the banking and then sends you into another airtime moment. But it's a very unique moment because it's not an airtime hill. It's just more like the train levels out, but then dives. It's almost like a double down in the turn. I don't know. This is just a really hard roller coaster to describe. After that, you go through kind of a traditional banked left turn before popping up into a twisted airtime hill. It gives you a really good snap of transitional laterals as you change banking from left to right-handed banking, as well as airtime. So then you kind of go into a right banked turn, which sends you into another airtime moment, which sends you into another banked left turn. Jesus, this coaster really is a lot. Which sends you into an airtime moment during the banked turn, which is a good moment. You then hit probably the only actual traditional airtime hill on the entire roller coaster before diving into another banked left turn. This spins all the way around. You pop up into another airtime hill before sending you into a banked right curve with an airtime hill at the end of it. You then dive all the way down. Also, best moment on the roller coaster right there. That airtime moment coming out of that turn. So you have that twist, and then you pop up, and then you dive really, because it's almost like diving off a hill. It's a little bit of a terrain moment.
Yeah.
Super good in the back row. Like virtually almost ejector airtime in the back.
Yes.
It probably is ejector airtime in the back row, honestly. This sends you into a tunnel, which sends you into a turn. There's a little airtime pop in that turn before sending you into a banked right turn. You have one more traditional airtime hill before sending into another right banked turn, which goes into the final brakes. Oh, all right. Hold on. Give me a second.
I think the difference between this one and other GCIs that we've ridden is that The moments on this roller coaster are just drawn out like a couple seconds longer, which leads to that like gliding effect that Gabe was talking about, making this coaster a little bit more graceful. Where with some of the other GCIs, I feel like the elements are a little bit shorter, and then thus that makes the transitions in and out of them a little bit more whippy, more snappy, which makes those coasters slightly more violent. So I think
this coaster does have those snappy moments.
Yes.
Like it does have like the one moment where you're kind of like banked and you're turning to the left and then you pop up into an airtime moment. It snaps you into the banked right curve, but then you're in that curve and then you're gliding through it. Then you have maybe an airtime pop or something. It's crazy because like the name Texas Stingray really fits, because I feel like when just watching the coaster.
I was literally about to say the same goddamn thing. Go ahead.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like you could picture a stingray doing these kinds of movements.
Yes.
Like it is kind of crazy just having the stingray on the front of the train and the POV. Like you could picture a real life stingray swimming like that.
Exactly. I feel like you're totally right, where they'd have these big gliding moments, but then if need be, they could really quick just like turn directions if they had to.
Oh, absolutely. I think the other thing that this coaster does is it does change elevation more. So like a Mystic Timbers is it does not leave the ground very often. It just doesn't. No. This coaster does.
Yes.
So I think that's the other thing they do very well is they change the elevation of the coaster very well, but they don't lose the pacing when they do that, if that makes sense. Like
yes.
It still is a rapid fire roller coaster, but maybe there's just like in one banked turn, there's 4 different elements. It's kind of crazy how they were able to do that. I think this is a very well done roller coaster. The more I talk about it, I think it is better than Mystic Timbers. I really do.
Well, we also have to talk about, so when we first rode Mystic Timbers, we absolutely loved that roller coaster.
Oh, for sure.
Then unfortunately, our rewrites dropped our opinion of it, but not because Mystic Timbers got worse or anything like that. We just have ridden a lot of other world-class wooden roller coasters.
Well, world-class coasters in general, but yeah.
Yeah, actually. So it has nothing to do with like Mystic Timbers becoming a worse roller coaster. It's just that we have ridden so many other things that were like, unfortunately, Mystic Timbers just doesn't live up anymore, unfortunately. And it's like, it's not to say that these are bad roller coasters. It's just, where they stand in the lineup. And like, Mystic Timbers is a really good roller coaster. So
it is a very good roller coaster. It's just, I think some of it's a taste. Our taste has changed a little bit. Broadening our spectrums. It does kind of. This coaster, Texas Stingray, does slightly, ever so slightly, remind me of the Voyage. Just of the style of roller coaster. The Voyage is a little more rip your face off, though, I think.
Yeah.
Especially on the return trip, like the return trip of the Voyage. Like maybe the trip out is a little closer to what the Texas Stingray is.
Oh, heck yeah.
Maybe like the trip out and then maybe the back section. And then the return trips is when the Voyage really becomes a gravity group roller coaster and just absolutely rips your face off.
Yeah.
But, and I said slightly. It's not, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying, they're the same coaster, because they're not. Not ever will they be the same coaster. But it is a similar-esque kind of style. I don't know if you stretch it really far.
Yeah, right. I think me and Gabe really like comparing coasters, not to like put one over each other, but we like to describe similar feelings that a roller coaster
Here's
invokes.
Here's a good example. If we're to compare 2 coasters, right? I'm trying to think of one that you've been on though. Let's see.
I can think of one right off the top of my head.
Well, I was going to use the Iron Glossy versus Steel Vengeance comparison.
Yeah.
But you haven't been on Iron Glossy, so I was like,
no.
Oh,
Are we trying to pick two similar coasters that kind of invoke the same feeling but are obviously not the same coaster?
No, I'm just saying like one's the Texas Stingray and one's Mystic Timbers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, now does that make more sense? Like Steel Vengeance is Mystic Timbers, and then like
Iron Buzzy, yeah.
Yeah, the amount of elements that are there in Mystic Timbers are it's more elements. It's definitely more of a rapid pace, kind of rapid fire roller coaster, but the quality of the elements aren't the same.
Yeah. We could do this. We could do Steve versus Air Force One because I've been on that.
Yeah, definitely. I would agree with that. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I mean, Steve's almost twice as long as Air Force One, but I still think Air Force One's a better roller coaster because the quality of elements in that roller coaster, I feel like, is overall better.
Yes.
I think this. I could say this for both of us. We're people who want our roller coasters to feel like individual elements, but we still want flow. So we don't want a choppy layout that doesn't have good pacing and doesn't flow, but we don't want a roller coaster element that's 100% pacing and no diversity. Like you still have to have diversity. A good paced roller coaster is good, but if every element in a coaster is the same, if all 5 or 10 elements are identical or very similar, it does begin to lose its ability to like wow you as you go through the layout, where like Texas Stingray does a very unique, like every little turn, every twist, every jump up or down is different enough that you still feel like each element's unique to itself on the roller coaster. Gosh,
100%.
All right, let's end this episode. We're getting wild here, but
we're starting to get a little bit long-winded here. So,
yes.
Picking a winner, I think they're both great coasters, but I would go with Texas Stingray.
Oh, 100%. It's as good of a coaster as Grizzly is. It's a 1982 Woody.
Yeah,
that was retracked and made better.
Yeah.
But it's not the Steel Support, GCI, Train, Millennium Flyer, Animal. Full circle, guys. I did it. That the Texas Stingray is. So, awesome. Texas Stingray wins. Definitely. Not a contest. Sorry, Grizzly. We love you, but you came up short on this one.
Yeah, unfortunately. That's okay, though. We love them both. They were both great.
Just one little quick thing here.
Okay.
This is a good example, right? Grizzly, 3,150 feet of track. It took us 4 minutes to describe the layout.
Yeah.
Texas Stingray, 3,379 feet of track. It's only 200 feet longer. It took me, almost 7 to 8 minutes to describe the layout?
Yeah.
Almost the same identical length of coasters. Honestly, the extra footage is probably just in the lift hill.
Honestly.
So that's a good way to put it, honestly.
Yeah. Yes. So with that, we're going to get into our schedule. So first of all, I was just about to say,
someone had to take a vacation, and then someone else got lazy and didn't make my solo episode. So sorry, guys.
I am sorry. Okay, I needed a beach. I got a beach. Got sunburned. Almost died. We're good.
I warned you. Just so you.
My fair little Wisconsin skin couldn't handle a 9 UV index.
Voyage.
Yeah.
Our next episode. It's gonna be, the voyage is going to be in it for sure, 100%.
Oh, well, duh. So our next episode is a Coasters 101 on the Gravity Group, a very good company to follow up in any Woodies coaster.
Okay,
and
just a little teaser for that episode. Gravity Group's probably the only roller coaster manufacturer that their first roller coaster was their best.
Yeah.
Probably the only one that will ever say that about. There's a little hint there.
And then so that's going to be a really good episode. We're going to have a lot of fun, and we love a lot of their coasters. So, absolutely. But So where I was going before we got into this is me and Gabe might end up cutting out some of our coasters. We'll let you know, but not these ones coming up, because we're actually very excited for these. So we our next one coming up is coasters that make you question their safety policies.
Oh yes, that's
I think everybody's got a story about a janky ass roller coaster that, like, and not in the good way, the one where you're like, I might actually die today. And that's these two. And
no, for sure.
yeah. So, and then our next one is actually indoor coasters. I feel like we don't talk about these too often.
We don't, and that's because most of the time they suck.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I'm being honest, like,
but go ahead.
One coaster we could have put there that we didn't was Laugh Track. Did either of us even think about Laugh Track?
I didn't.
I
don't even. Where is Laugh Track?
At Hershey Park.
Oh.
I
just want to talk about mine because I want to talk about the theming on it.
Well, I know. I just kind of slotted one in there because that's sounded good, but like. Neither of us
nope.
Sorry, that was just a funny side note. Neither of us consider Laugh Track, which is probably one of the better ones we've been on.
Yeah, actually. So anyways, we have two fun ones. Gabe's is a history plug, and mine, like I just said, is a theming plug because that was a lot of fun. Yeah. And then we have another special episode coming up, and I don't think we're going to cut this one simply because I have a feeling Gabe's going to really enjoy this. It's a question everything episode on specifically roller coaster lingo.
It really depends on my motivation to actually figure questions out to ask.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say,
depends on.
Yeah, if anybody's listened to previous episodes, usually Question Everything episode, I quiz Gabe, but we had a listener suggestion that we should do one where he quizzes me. So I'm not excited. I'm kind of hoping he does get lazy and doesn't write questions because I'm not excited for that episode. So
it's a ways away, and I have time.
Yeah, you do. Oh, great.
Procrastination time, but
you'll do it the night before we record. It's fine.
I probably will, or the night of. Hey, Sam, give me 20 minutes. I gotta write down some questions quick. So
we'll stop there. That'll be definitely 100% the episode's coming out.
I know what I'll do. I got an idea. Sorry.
Okay.
My brain.
But I feel like we've rambled enough. This is a late night episode. We tend to ramble a lot when we make these episodes. Oh, yeah. So thank you everybody for listening, and join us next week for our Coasters 101 on the Gravity Group.
And I hope you all have a great day.